pause, and we're going to see if we get it saved. It's working. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a W. All right. We're finally playing Millennium Dawn. It only took 48 minutes. Let's go. Alrighty. As I was saying earlier, we are going to be continuing with this Egypt game. Now that we are in a surplus, I can't see our debt, because again, I broke my screen cleaning, so that's just all black for me, but I can hover over it and see. So we're around $1 trillion in debt right now. Not too bad considering we are in a surplus. Our GDP is growing. We're going to scale that out, and we're going to reduce our interest rate, which is our main concern right now, but we'll start to get that down. But in the near future, with Mubarak in charge, since we have a bit of a surplus, we're in a more stable position. We want to work on obviously modernizing and improving the military, building up a little bit more of a navy, I think a little bit as well, and obviously continuing our just general GDP growth and things like that. So now we can focus on some real actual development here. I think given our economy and given our military is about to get a bit stronger, I'm going to be a bit more heavy-handed with getting us involved in conflicts, whether that's sending equipment or just like direct intervention as well. So we'll see how that goes. We were also working on our domestic independence issues as well. Those massive bailouts we had 2 weeks ago when we ended our game was really good. It helped our economy get in a better position, but it also did cause us to no longer be a regional power. So we can't do anything with the African Union, which really sucks. So we're going to start combating foreign influence more as well and work on getting out. Really, the Spanish and American influences are the big one, given they gave us a couple really big debt bailouts, which was needed. Labor re-elected. Is this still Corbyn? Or who is it? Oh, no, Blair, of course. This is 2007 Labor. What am I talking about? New Labor. Okay. I'm going to subsidize Western culture because we seem to be going that way. We are also, I believe, a secular society now. We had a modifier change for that, which is pretty big. The Congo is still just a complete clusterfuck. Historically accurate. Brutal. Still a nice surplus. Let's hold on what we got. Construction-wise, we're still working on those civs. We're going to work on some network infrastructure upgrades and do some regular infrastructure. But really just trying to scale up our domestic industry in Cairo and Alexandria. We also are very Western aligned at the moment. We made a lot of deals with the US and countries in Europe as compared to the East. So I don't really foresee us trying to work too closely with like the SCO or anything like that. Furthest East will probably go in terms of like IGOs is like maybe the GCC, Gulf Council. Oh. The ruling party's popularity is wavering due to ongoing protests. The government faces a critical decision that may either strengthen or weaken its grip on power. The outcome could have a lasting impact on the nation's political landscape. All right, a lot of protesting right now, I assume because we're not doing what we're supposed to with spending. Yeah, we need to spend more on our social security and healthcare, which we're not doing. We'll negotiate and we'll increase our spending. Got Wi-Fi as well, nice. We're actually very up to date on all of our electronic stuff right now. Surprisingly, that is wonderful. We're working on our GMOs. We are up to date on construction for the most part. Probably just work more on the energy grid, I would say, because that's one of our biggest problems. Go for thermodynamic basics to reduce just general costs of buildings, which is where most of our energy consumption is coming from. Okay, and then how much did that fuck us? Okay, we're in a bit of a deficit, but it's not too bad. I will probably raise the corporate tax rate a little bit just to get us back into a surplus. But we're meeting all of our expected spending right now, so we're chilling. That's good. I feel really bad for the DRC. That place has been a mess for so long, even though it has such potential natural resources and beauty. Yeah, but considering the West like owns everything in Central Africa, that's kind of an uphill fight for them. But yeah, you are right. I mean, natural resource-wise, very valuable. A lot of Africa is, to be honest. But I mean, the thing about decolonization that you don't hear about in your fucking textbooks, well, maybe if you got a good teacher, is that decolonization was just like European and Western governments not having direct political power over like this ex-colonial states that we now see, right? What they don't tell you is that those countries usually retain their ownership over natural resource rights, to the point that governments really struggle to use their natural resources to build wealth. A lot of African countries do. It's unfortunate. Not all the time. And I mean, God forbid you try and nationalize them, because then you just get branded a radical state and all sorts of problems come to you. All right, we're done with the Egyptian army. We're trying to get to the, I think, what is it, like the tourist armed defense unit or something? Yeah, tourist police. That way we can work on actually building up a tourist business. And then we're going to start to work on getting rid of drug smuggling as well. Support police. In order to ensure safety of our citizens and tourists, we need a strong, numerous, and trained police force. That also helps us as well. I forgot, we have a monarchist Mexico in this game for some reason. And we looked him up. This is a real guy. He is technically like the current heir to the Mexican throne, if they ever brought it back. Count Maximilian von Gotzen Iturbide. We'll get them the support equipment. We're selling it on the market. Just base Mexico remilitarizes and invades for their old territory in America. It'd be kind of funny. Okay. Can we sell anything else on the market, actually? I don't remember how to use it. I think most of the stuff we're producing, I just want us to use, though, so probably not. We also did get a license to produce Abrams tank last game, so we are making those domestically now. Which is a wild timeline. Nothing else really to sell here. All good. Also, we'll turn the game volume on a little bit here. Not too loud. I like hearing the menu settings in Paradox games a little bit, but when it's loud, it just gets annoying. Kosovo has been puppeted by who? Serbian puppet, okay. That's a little iffy. My dream is to have an apartment on the East African Federation West Coast? Oh. Where in particular? That's kind of cool. I love a new focus tree for Sweden and Millennium Dawn. Yeah, their current one's not fantastic, that's for sure. One of the earlier ones. I mean, I'm sure they're always looking for modders, Susie, if you want to work on it. I know they make you do training first, so you'd have to work on like one of the current ongoing projects a little bit as well to prove that you won't just disappear and can do good work, but if you do that, I think they will let you work on things that you want like that. We can make our own PMC. The Union of the Tribes of Sinai PMC. Might do that later, just for some fun stuff. We'll go max speed as well. I love Paradox games. Damn it, we were doing so good. All right, we'll try relaunching and see if we can get it to work. I did up the speed. Maybe if I slow down the speed, it'll work. Maybe. You know what? While we're waiting, I'm gonna give y'all something to do. Let's throw up a poll for if I cannot get this to work, what country we're gonna play next. I'll do a poll for that right now. You guys can decide. Because I've got a couple options I've been thinking about and I can't decide. Poll is up if you would like to vote on that. Ukraine didn't get an update. A lot of countries got a big update, actually. All right, let's see. Libertarian US. If I give myself a lobotomy first, I'm not opposed to it. I would have to lobotomize myself to be able to understand and agree with libertarian political concepts and economic concepts, so I won't stream that part, but if I do that, then I'm down. Susie, you're giving me fucking a stroke just reading that. Speaking of monarchy in the US. You can't go that path, I think, still, right? Libertarian, do people listen to libertarians online? I thought we all agreed to, like, not listen to 13-year-olds ranting about, like, crazy, weird, fucking political opinions. God, libertarians, dude. They're just bougie anarchists who don't understand economics. That's all they are. All right, let's see if this works. I believe. Come on. Did anyone remember what date it died at? I want to say it was like the 8th or something. We're going speed 4. Libertarian movement has spread to Sweden and I hate them all. Yeah, of course. Libertarian concepts work very well with your kind of like very, very pro-capitalist, unregulated capitalist stems you guys have, if I remember right. You had a friend that was actually an ANCAP. He got better. I'm sorry to hear that. It's good. I mean, like, the recovery rates on, like, you know, dramatic brain damage, like, we're getting better at treating those sorts of problems, right? And I'm really glad to hear that he recovered from that incident where he got his serious head injury that resulted in that sort of, you know, that belief system. Libertarianism would be cool. That you can stop your statement right there. We can move on. The first 4 words there. They don't go together, do they? Not really. Okay, we might be good here. Potentially. Yeah, looks like it. Hopefully no more crashes, but I will do that poll, and I will abide by it even like after this Egypt game, so feel free to vote on that if you would like. Productivity growth is really important for our economy right now, I will say. But we're pretty far behind on a lot of tech at the moment, especially tanks. We've got the license on Abrams, so I think I'm not too worried about that for a while. We did get that 4th gen aircraft as well. Satellites would be nice to get up, but very expensive. I think we do work on that productivity growth. We'll keep working on 3D printer stuff. When I found an ANCAP, I turned my left-wing ideas to 11. To be fair, I got sucked into the whole neocon, anti-SJW stuff back in 2015, 2016, but I got out a few years later. Yeah, dude, I understand that. I got pulled to the edges of it because I had very, very conservative friends towards the end of community college. Very conservative friends. And you know how it is, like with your friend group, especially if like you guys talk and debate a lot, at least in my experience. You know, I'm the type who will listen to people's arguments on stuff, right? And I will have my opinion changed by it. And I started to creep in that direction. I never went that far into it, but I got to the border. I got to the point I was watching Joe Rogan, like, you know, semi-consistently. And like Elon Musk. You know, I was on the edge of that bullshit, but I never went too far, thankfully. I got on the corner of the anti-SJW stuff because I do understand there are some valid concerns for that kind of thing where it does get taken far. But the big thing that you never, like, those people don't take into context is it also is just, like, making the loudest voices, like, you know, portrayed as the whole group, right? Which is what the media will always do. Libya embraces reform. The Libyan head of state, Muammar Gaddafi, has announced plans to reduce the power of the revolutionary committees in the country. The revolutionary committees were created as an authority to prevent the spread of revolutionary ideals after Muammar Gaddafi took power in the country. In practice, committees have controlled the pseudo-democratic people's congresses that in theory are supposed to run the country. The committees have now been sidelined for the political process, allowing the people's congresses to operate more freely. This change will move Libya towards a more democratic society. Whoa. Gaddafi going democratic? Tied between USA and Ukraine. Tied between USA and Ukraine. Elon Musk is a con man? I wouldn't say that, but he's not too far. He's closer to a con man than a genius. I'll do a runoff poll. Swear to God, every time I do a fucking, like a semi-important Twitch poll, it's always a goddamn tie. Get this song really quickly too. Again, if anyone knows some really good Egyptian music, let me know, I'll play it. I'll do a 10-minute poll in this one too, since we're hopefully not rushing here. A live political compass? Do I need a I don't know if I want to dox my political opinions like that. I don't know, dude. I mean, tell you what, Susie, you redeem a rant and I'll do a live political compass. But you all have to fucking promise to actually listen to me if I talk about why I choose something and don't just go, oh, that. My political opinions are not just like a grouping. Like, I don't just ascribe to a political ideology. I've thought about most of my beliefs on things, and they are open to change, which, you know, I think it's a good thing. A lot of people don't. All right, tourist police. It is necessary to create a tourist police in order to create comfortable conditions for tourists and protect them from scammers and help with communication. Cool. Less ideological drift. More police cost, and then it'll cost us around $3 billion. Drop in the bucket for our current economy, though. Despite that deficit, which is starting to creep up. I don't like that. That welfare really is expensive, isn't it? I'm going to reduce our police spending when we can as well. We had to up it, I think, for that focus. But I will try and drop that back down a little bit, so we get it to a surplus again. Political compass, yeah, is also not a very good political test, to be fair. It really is not. You want to know what's funny, though, about the political compass test? You want to know something like fucking funny about it? Dude, 2 of my exes, I kid you not, have asked me to take that like fairly on during dating. Fairly early on. I tend to date, you know, I don't want to say leftists. That's not entirely true. It's fairly liberal people, you know, and they tend to want to know I'm not like a fucking conservative. So I've been asked to take that multiple times. Separate people early on. And I always tell them, I'm like, you know, this is kind of interesting. But if you're seriously gonna make judgments about my political beliefs based off of this, I don't know about that. It went well both times though, because we sat down and did it together. I explained my opinions on things, and it, you know, it's fine. But it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Separate times. The first time I was like, okay. Second time I was like, is this just like a thing? Is this like a dating thing I don't know about? The third date, you just sit down and do a political compass test together? Like, what the fuck? I don't know. I mean, I get like wanting to understand people's politics for dating, right? I couldn't date someone who I like radically disagreed on some things, but some people are willing to do that. I'm not. If you have some very radical opinions I don't like, I can't fuck you. You know, I can't. Not even a hate fuck. All right, we're gonna go, I think, down platoon maneuver. Don't go down this one. If I remember right, this is the really good one. Yeah, it is. Oh, look at those bonuses. That's beautiful. And then we're chilling. All right, we have enough. I'm gonna go ahead and move police spending down by 1 level. And then I'll up our corporate tax rate by, I think, like probably up to 20, I think. We'll run a bit of a deficit. Because although we are scaling out our deficit, and like it'll decrease our interest rate as our economy grows larger compared to our debt, right? The lower we can get that, the better. Once we're below a 6% interest rate, I'm probably mostly gonna stop caring about it. But we are at the tail end here of our economic recovery for the most part. No major things to really get involved in either, besides obviously the Congolese bullshit. Also, what's up, Logi Bear? How are you doing? My ex wanted to make a Torah card thing to see if it was a good person. I was scared. What's a... Do you mean a tarot card reading? Oh, dude. That's like one step away from like dating based off of, oh, what's that shit called? Zodiac? Whew! Dude, if I see a dating profile with like talking about Zodiac shit, nope. Hard pass. Fuck that. Fight with narcos. We need to fight drugs and drug trafficking for greater stability in our country. Definitely. Effects will gradually appear. So I wonder if this is going to be like decisions or just like events will pop up or something. Not too sure. We shall see. Also, the energy crisis is slowly getting worse again. Every time we get a new building, it's upping our energy costs, essentially. We're fine because we're importing fuel for the moment, but we are going to have to build more energy plants in the future here. I do like the economic changes they've done to MD, but I also do understand when people talk about it being too complicated. Astrology. That's the one, yeah. I would agree to similar sentiments being conservative and nationalist. I obviously wouldn't dare show interest in leftists, so I agree with your comment about dating in politics. Yeah, exactly. If you radically disagree with someone on something, you're not going to date them. You know. Is what it is. Get a bit more, we'll combat that foreign influence again. That is our domestic. 47. Are we a regional power yet? That's the main thing I'm trying to get us to here. Nope, still minor power. Okay. You're pagan, but tarot cards just feels wacky. I don't know, dude. Like, I actually kind of like tarot cards. But the people who take them very seriously, I think, I don't know. Like, I find tarot cards to be fun and interesting because I think like their connection to psychological elements is kind of interesting, right? Because like I've known people who have done them who like basically they use it to like make people make connections naturally, right? I actually have a tarot deck somewhere back here. Yeah, I do. Kind of a cool one, very artsy. I haven't done a reading in a while though. I technically know how to do it. I don't do it often. My perspective on it though is like why I like doing them for people is I like to help them make connections with things, right? So Like in the past, friends and people I've dated as well, like they've asked for like a reading. And I make it clear to them, like, I'm not a big believer in this stuff. I just find it interesting. And like, I'll just basically pull the cards and I'll talk about whatever they're asking about and kind of use it to like make connections for them. Because I've noticed people can sometimes basically ask semi-important questions or like issues with things they're dealing with where either deep down they kind of know what they need to do or there's a connection that they like won't let themselves make mentally, right? And I think that's one of those tools you can use to help them like do that, which I think is interesting. Because like there's that like separate kind of almost element that allows them to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm communicating that well. All right, combat foreign influence again. I think the new age, let me read it. The thing I hate the most is ear candling. What is ear candling? I've never heard of that. Third card said I'm a lying politician, that I would strangle someone to death or something for power. They're definitely intriguing, but wholeheartedly believing is wacky. I want them to have faith in it. That is their faith, but personally it's wacky. Yeah, and people believe in a lot of different things, and obviously that's up to them. But I think something that does have such an element of chance and subjectivity like that is a little dangerous for like really big things. Not a huge deal though. Korean arms companies offer products. The Republic of Korea is well known for its ability to produce high quality weaponry at relatively affordable prices. We should consider whether to purchase some of their equipment, but our funds are not limitless, so we should choose wisely. Tanks, artillery, or rifles. We're producing pretty good weapons already. We're producing pretty good tanks with the Abrams. I think we go for artillery here. Not gonna lie, that'd be very nice. Okay. We're not gonna go after army corruption until Mubarak's gone, if he ever is. All right, what we can do now is work a bit more on our tourism sector, and then I'm just gonna really develop our military. We'll start by developing Cairo. Cairo is the capital of Egypt, and the city-state Cairo's govern it, and is the country's largest city, home to 10 million people. It is also part of the largest urban agglomeration in Africa, the Arab world, and the Middle East. The Greater Cairo metropolitan area is the 12th largest, in the world by population. Cairo is associated with ancient Egypt, as the Giza Pyramid complex and the ancient cities of Memphis and Heliopolis are located in its geographical area. It does sprawl a lot. That is for fucking sure. It is huge. Ukraine won. All right, leading USA by 1 vote. So our next MD gameplay will be Ukraine. You're a pagan Quaker. That's mildly based. I'm gonna be honest, dude. Quakers are wild, dude. They've been on like the right side of so much of history. It's kind of insane. If y'all don't know what Quakers are, you can look them up. And by no means am I an expert, but I have a basic understanding. They were like a sect of like Christianity that took like a much more kind of, I don't want to say like liberal, but more like open-minded approach towards religion and towards people and beliefs and stuff. Tended to be fairly pacifist as a general rule as well. Like they took, you know, the commandments very seriously. And like historically, while a lot of, you know, Christian faiths have been unwilling to adapt their belief systems to fit kind of like social changes, right? Quakers are usually like 100 years ahead of everyone else. Not on everything, but they tend to be ahead of people on a lot of social issues. It's been interesting. So yeah, they also were not very well liked. They're one of the groups that like moved to America pretty early on because, you know, during religious persecution, Europe, America gave them an out. So there are, I think, comparatively larger groups of Quakers in the US compared to other countries. Egyptian consumers are spending less. That's going to hit our economic market cycle there. But we are still in stable growth, so not the worst. We're still barely in a surplus as well. Okay, we'll go with that for now. Kind of treading water in terms of economy, but our civs are going up, so we're technically growing here, which is nice. Nixon was a Quaker? Was he fucking actually? There's no way. He was born a Quaker, so his family were Quakers. Jesus, dude. There's no way he stayed a Quaker. Holy shit, I didn't know that. Okay. Second link I found is a fucking research paper on Nixon's private life and religious beliefs. To be fair, Nixon, like, despite, like, his horrible foreign policy and all his many fuck-ups, he did occasionally, like, once in a while do some, like, actually semi-solid stuff. I'm gonna have to do some reading on that later. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Wow. That's wild. Religiously prosecuted during the American Revolution. The Quakers were? Tricky technical. Wow. I did not know that at all. That kind of blew my mind, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, we are going to work on some dockyards here in a little bit too. As with any game, I do want us to build up a bit of a navy. Not something too crazy. I won't try and contend like the US fleet or anything in this game, but I think a little bit of naval power projection, given we own the Suez, would be a very good idea. Italian Civil War. Oh, fuck. There he is. Claudio Graziano versus Silvio Berlusconi. Oof. Do we intervene? Can we intervene? We can send military aid, but not intervention forced. We're trying to get in good with the EU, so we're going to send Berlusconi some rifles. Some just really old, really shitty rifles. And some vehicles. And we're going to send them 3 Russian AKMs. There we go. We're doing our part. We're doing our part. So watching that energy balance get worse here. The political process? That sounds familiar. I do sense Nixon becoming a victim of the system, thus some of his policies having to be a staunch American dominance. Oh no. No, that came from that man's soul, Logi. Maybe a little bit, but no. A lot of his foreign shit and the fucked up shit he did, especially with foreign policy, that came from him. No one else. He may be Kissinger on a good day. He is an interesting person in history, though, I will say. Nixon is one of the more interesting U.S. presidents, for better and worse. You know, Eisenhower fucking really disliked Nixon. Before Nixon became president, he originally was on the ticket as the VP for Eisenhower. After Truman didn't run, after obviously, you know, Roosevelt died in office, Truman assumed the office as the VP, which, you know, no one expected him to ever be president. He turned out to be okay. Not a very good president, not a very awful one. In my opinion, he was a very bad president, mainly due to the fact that he inherited the role at such a pivotal time for stuff he just wasn't really capable of. I'm not going to rant about that, though. He won re-election against Dewey, who was the Republican candidate. He was expected to lose by large margins. Newspapers were pretty famous in, like, the, what was that? Like the 48 or the 50 election, basically for, like, pre-printing that Truman had lost. Like, the newspapers printed that, and then it turned out like he won, but not by a lot. After Truman didn't run for a second term, even though he technically could have, it was a race between Eisenhower, and I forget the other guy. He didn't do well at all. Eisenhower was a shoo-in. He was so, you know, well-liked. And Eisenhower chose Nixon as his VP. Nixon was from California. California at the time was actually a swing state, crazily enough, right? So he kind of shoot in the West for Eisenhower, who was a Republican at the time. Eisenhower fucking did not like Nixon. There is no secret in history about that. He did not like Nixon at all. They met once prior to him being named VP, I think, if I remember right, and they basically never met when he was president. Eisenhower wanted nothing to do with Nixon. And then when Nixon like campaigned for president afterwards, after Eisenhower didn't run after his second term, was it first term? I think second term. Eisenhower like wouldn't even go speak with him. Like he wouldn't go out there and like campaign for Nixon because he just didn't fucking like the guy at all, which is funny. I don't know. I think it's funny historically. Developing Luxor. Luxor has frequently been characterized as the world's greatest open-air museum, as the ruins of the Egyptian temple complexes at Karnak and Luxor stand within the modern city. Immediately opposite, across the River Nile, lies the monuments, temples, and tombs of the West Bank Theban necropolis, which includes the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. Thousands of tourists from all around the world arrive annually to visit Luxor's monuments, contributing greatly to the economy of the modern city. Yusuf Abu al-Haggag is the patron saint of Luxor. I never went there when I went to Egypt, and I regret that so fucking much. One of my buddies has been there over the last like couple weeks. He's been in Luxor actually. Old buddy from years ago. I still got him on Instagram, and he keeps posting pictures of Luxor. It looks so fucking cool, dude. Maybe I'll go there one day. That'd be fun. It looks really cool. So we can't do anything? Alright. We're still good on fuel for the moment as well. Eisenhower's opponent was Adlai Stevenson II. That's the one. He absolutely blew him the fuck out, if I remember right. Both times. What do you think of Kamala and Tim Walz? Ooh, we're going there, huh? All right. I did not expect to like the Democratic ticket in 2024. It was not a future I foresaw at all. I kind of like the Democratic ticket, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not like, oh my god, this is gonna change America for the better. This is transformative. But I actually kind of do like the Democratic ticket. Kamala Harris I have very mixed feelings about in many ways. My main issue with her is she has not made a lot of campaign promises. She is really just running with the I'm not Trump, kind of tactic, which fair, that's the smart tactic. But I want to hear her policy promises. Not that like politicians ever follow them, especially for the presidency, right? They'll make sweeping promises and implement like maybe 5% of it, right? But I like to know where people stand on issues. And with Kamala Harris, I really just don't know where she stands on a lot of things. My selling point, the reason I am sold already on Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is their foreign policy, which is very pro-Ukraine. And to me, at present, that is really one of the only major foreign policy issues that I care strongly about, is whether or not the candidate will actively support Ukraine in their war of defense against Russia. And Harris and Walz have been definitive in saying that they will continue funding and will, if anything, probably increase funding to help Ukraine. So I'm sold on foreign policy off the bat. In terms of domestic policy, the Harris, I believe, her only major promises she has talked about and made are basically trying to work on like inflation and dealing with consumer good prices, which is not a simple task to deal with, given a lot of, for example, the reasons that we have like increases in prices domestically in the US, if you're American, and even in Europe. Part of it is still the effects of COVID-19 and the price gouging that came with that, and the ability of corporations, during a moment of crisis to increase prices. That was definitely a factor. The other big reason, though, is the world is currently experiencing a food crisis. If you're in the West, you probably don't feel it as much, so you don't know about it. Your prices are going up. You definitely feel it, right, when you pay for groceries. One moment here. But most Americans and even a lot of Europeans don't realize that there is currently a global food crisis, primarily due to the war in Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the world's biggest grain producers, actually, surprisingly enough. It's a very fertile territory. I mean, oh god, I'm gonna go into a rant here, but historically, interesting fun fact that I find fascinating about history, especially during the Greek city-state era, we're talking, 2,500 years ago to 2,000 years ago, even in the Roman era, right, is the Greek city-states. They colonized two important areas to the north of the Greek kind of traditional area, which was the Bosphorus here, right, with Constantinople, now Istanbul, to be able to like secure the Bosphorus here and the crossing into the Black Sea. Haha, I got it right. And then they created colonies in modern day Crimea and then the lands in modern day Ukraine to the south here. Why? fucking breadbasket as fuck, right? Really amazing farmlands here that the Greeks, like, basically imported huge amounts of their grain through back in the day. It was very valuable during the Roman era too, right? The grain produced here would help to feed Rome. Obviously, they got most of it from Egypt, but they got a lot from Ukraine as well, modern day Ukraine. So, one of many, many, many reasons why there is a global food crisis. Anyway, back on point to Kamala Harris. That's one of the main promises I think she's talked about in terms of domestic policy I've found to be interesting. She's not given specifics on how, but I'm glad it's a priority, which is very nice, right? The other reason I'm sold on Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is they are not Donald Trump and JD Couchfucker Vance. So, you know, I know I seem very liberal at times, and I am, but there are potential Republican tickets I could vote for. It's just the Republican Party has gone so far into populism and Trumpism. I have no respect for a lot of these candidates who are running, you know. But there were candidates, and there could be candidates that I could vote for. I'm not like a pure Dem voter. I would have seriously probably considered voting for Mitt Romney and even John McCain. I don't know if I would have, but I would have considered it. I'm not actually a big fan of Barack Obama in many ways. And Tim Walz is just cool as fuck, dude. If you haven't looked up Tim Walz and who he is and his history, he was kind of the sleeper pick. I'd heard a bit about him from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was pushing him for the VP pick, talking about his like union kind of history and stuff like that, which I really like. I'm a big fan of unions, right? Big fan of unions. Whether you like them or not, I think most people in Western democracies can agree they should at least not have major restrictions on, you know, having them exist, which is what America currently has. But he's a big union guy, you know, ex-military, which is huge. I'm glad to see a VP pick who's ex-military at this point in time, again, due to Ukraine, due to the current crisis in Israel and Iran, and due to the obviously ongoing issues in Taiwan, with China kind of heating up a bit more there, and of course the heating up we're now seeing actually in Korea, right? Given that North Korea has been giving massive amounts of military aid to Russia in their ongoing war in Ukraine, and now potentially news coming out, right, that South Korea is considering starting to send weapons and ammunition to Ukraine. So with the Korean Peninsula heating up, with Taiwan becoming more of an issue than ever, with the ongoing war in Ukraine, with the state of the EU building like an EU army and starting to militarize as NATO becomes more shaky, with the instability in the Middle East, the tickets for me in America right now is obvious on that one. Trump has no military history, and he has proven only able to basically kowtow to dictators and not push U.S. foreign interests in a meaningful way. J.D. Vance, technically ex-military, but oh god, his history with that isn't good, and he has no foreign policy experience. Yeah, I don't know, man. So I guess those are my main thoughts on the Kamala Harris Walz ticket. Pretty clear cut for me right now. You're more or less this, it seems, as a fellow Ohioan. Surely you can respect Vance for going to East Palestine. I'm glad he did. After the train derailment there, you know, I'm glad he went there. I'm not gonna... I mean, his political opinions are such that I don't really care for him very much. I mean, he's kind of very much portrayed himself in, I think, an inaccurate light, right? I mean, he's not from Appalachia. He's not from Appalachia, you know. He's not. He's from near Dayton, Ohio, which, you know, he's an Ohioan for sure, but he kind of portrays himself as, like, really Appalachian. He's fucking not, dude. That area by Dayton is very different, man. He went to an Ivy League school, right? He had a bunch of trouble in the military. Didn't he almost get, like, thrown out as well or something like that? Did he get a discharge or something? I haven't looked this shit up in a while. J.D. Vance. Weird fucking dude. I might have some incorrect information on that, but I thought he had something weird of like his history in the military that wasn't so good. We'll see anything on Wikipedia. I might be wrong about that. I heard something about like, a really weird thing happened while like in the army or some shit like that. But I may be completely misled on that. Ohio potato country. Ohio's not potato country. You're thinking of Idaho, Lollipop, which is where I'm originally from. That is potato country. You leave us Appalachians alone. I mean, if you're from there, you know he's not from Appalachia, though, right, Bear? I mean, come on. He's not. He's not. He wrote a book on it. It was an interesting, pretty good book, right? But he's not from there. I'm not either. I'm from Idaho. I grew up all over the world, like different places. I will not claim I am either. But I currently do live on like the edge of Appalachia. Very much so. And I know the cultural differences, right? Between central Ohio and actual Appalachia. Okay. Combat foreign influence again here as well. We build up a bit more political power. I really do want to try and get us into a regional power so we can do some African Union stuff here. Be very nice. Yeah. I was born in Idaho. I grew up for like the first 5 years of my life there. And I moved back there and lived there for like around half a year as an adult. That was about it. They just moved around. My dad's a professor, so we moved a lot. He moved up teaching-wise. Lived in Scotland for a little while. Then I mainly grew up in California. I've been living in Ohio for around 4 years now. Developing Sinai. In the classical era, the region was known as Arabian Petraeus. Arabia Petraea. A peninsula acquired the name Sinai in modern times due to the assumption that a mountain near St. Catherine's Monastery is the biblical Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is one of the most religiously significant places in the Abrahamic faith. Today, Sinai has become a tourist destination due to its natural setting, rich coral reefs, and biblical history. It is really beautiful. I've been there. I went to a beach resort there. Coral reefs are very nice. I didn't scuba dive, but I swam around in the coral a bunch. It's really chill. I'm way south of Columbus, kind of towards Athens area there. California, that'll do it. There it is. Oh my God, those liberal coastal elites and their Marxism. Ugh. You know, I got Marxist brainworms when I lived in California. They put in the water, the fluoride and the brainworms. They rot your brain and they make you like enjoy reading the Communist Manifesto, which is such a fucking boring read. Jesus Christ. Minnesota's all right. It's all right. It's not as great as like people are currently portraying it with Tim Walz. Tim Walz has done some great stuff in Minnesota. I'm a big fan of his, but Minnesota's not like great. All right, the power crisis is growing worse. Better small arms as well. Wonderful. 2005 variant. How's that civil war going in Italy? Unresolved. We have got our arms over there now, though. All right, we do need to think a bit more about some energy output here. I really would like to going more renewables because you can scale them up later with tech to actually be very good. Actually, I love nuclear power, but again, this is post-Iraqi invasion, Middle East, so let's not piss off the US too badly quite yet. Fuck it, we'll do renewable power. We'll build some up near Cairo and in Alexandria. Okay. Cool. Still running that surplus. All right, we're big chilling here. How far are we from another research slot as well? Get another one. Our RGB per capita is now over 20,000, which is very good, actually. We're definitely raising standards of living and real income here as compared to global economy. Definitely like to see that. I'll just say I'm between Chile and Cincy, that sort of area. I will not dox myself, but I will say we live like within 50 miles of each other. I will say that. That's funny. It's a nice area though, dude. Do you go on and fuck much with the like old Indian mounds around here from the mound builders? I've got a book and everything. I find it to be so interesting. It's super cool. That's what I do really like about this area. Is like that history with the mound builders. Just they're everywhere and it's so interesting. A lot of really beautiful hikes too. I'm sure you've been on a lot of them. That's fucking funny though. Dude, there's this one person who was watching my stream like I think a year or two ago. And I remember them saying they were from like the exact town I live in. And I was like, oh, that's funny. What are the chances of that? The cops are offering their people to the government. We have received a proposal from the Christian population of our country that they will nominate their candidates for government. I mean, we're going more secular. We're going a bit more democratic within like a Mubarak regime, right? We have elections currently, so we will allow for that. And that made a lot of people more radical. Accurate. Oh, the Serpent Mound. Hell yeah, dude. Very interesting. Very pretty. Feel more domestic. Independent stuff here, I think, is the plan. Oh, we can't. We'll wait on that, no worries. Holy shit. Minnesota? I mean, there's even books by Wilhelm Moberg about the people who immigrated from Sweden to that area of the U.S. I mean, yeah, like the Great Lakes area has a huge Scandinavian population, especially Minnesota, right? Definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. How are we on military equipment right now? APC deficit, light tank deficit, IFE deficit. I am to start making us build more mills here, but I want to get up probably to around like 65 to 70 civs first. And then we'll start to build up a bit of a military industry so we can just domestically supply all of the military equipment we need. And then maybe get a little spicy here with how we intervene in things. Still just a complete clusterfuck in the Congo. Accurate. I want to. Nah, we're using too many. I'll just do population tax up to 50. We've got enough stability that people, you know, they won't riot or anything. Hopefully. Perhaps you know the struggle that is camping season. Personally, I just want to nicely remind campers, get out of here. You mean like in this area in general? Dude, I haven't camped much actually in the last couple of years. I don't know. This area of the US I don't find very interesting for camping. I like the hiking around here. It's pretty nice, you know, for like little casual stuff, but I grew up like camping in the fucking like wilderness in the Sierras, right? Like that's what I did all through college and stuff. I love it. And dude, after getting spoiled with like Sierra mountain camping and like wilderness hiking and camping, I don't know. I don't enjoy camping around here very much, if I'm honest. I've done it a bit more like in like deeper Appalachia. Like I've gone camping like West Virginia and stuff like that, which I do like. West Virginia is a very pretty state. People don't realize that. Usually. Sharm el-Sheikh. Sharm el-Sheikh is an Egyptian city on the southern tip of the Sinai Peninsula in the South Sinai Governorate on the coastal strip along the Red Sea. Sharm el-Sheikh is the administrative hub of Egypt's South Sinai Governorate, which includes the smaller coastal towns of Dahab and Nuweiba, as well as the mountainous interior, St. Catherine and Mount Sinai. The city and holiday resort is a significant center of tourism in Egypt, while also attracting many international conferences and diplomatic meetings. Migration rate and tax revenue. Nice. More people when our unemployment rate is currently at 25%. That's just what we want. I get scared when I meet anyone outside of, You mean just like in general? Uh-oh. Last month, I seen this old lady trailing a horse and buggy on our straight stretch of road. Like, ma'am, can you pass them? Oh, you mean like the Amish buggies? Dude, I love that like the Amish buggies, like in like this region of Ohio, like they all have like those giant fucking caution signs that are like reflective on the back. It's fucking funny. Amish make amazing food, though, I will say. There's an Amish store, like, semi-close to where I live. My aunt always goes there, and she'll, like, now and then bring back some good stuff. They make some fire fucking stuff. God damn. Really good furniture, too. They're well known for, like, the craftsmanship, which I don't like the style. I don't like that old folksy kind of woodworking style. I like more modern shit, personally, but objectively, it is very high skill. I had a rocking chair when I was a kid. It was like this wood rocking chair that was really beautiful. I stopped being able to fit it when I was like 6 because I grew way too quickly. But that was Amish make. It was really nice. I think one of our relatives still has it too. If you don't know who the Amish are, if you're especially outside of the US, they're like a religious ethnic group that basically refuses to use technology, but still kind of uses technology. They dress like they're from the 1850s and can't use like electricity and shit like that. It's very odd. Major financial institution fails. Headlines have broken about a major financial institution going bust. The media is running rampant with this and heading for the hills. We'll bail them out. Fucking 78 billion though. Jesus. African Summit for 2008 is going to be on industrial development as well. Nice. That is a big L. Fuck. But we do have to bail out those banks. It is 08, isn't it? Shit. Is this the global collapse? I think they get a modifier when it happens. Yep, here we go. Global financial crisis is in full effect right now. Major economic downturn. Yeah, so the 2008 housing crisis just happened. Very unfortunate timing given our economy's finally stabilized and we're in a deficit now. One of our major banks, I guess, probably got caught up in the mortgage crisis, probably investing in like, you know, subprime mortgages in the, you know, European and Western markets. Unfortunate. We'll bail them out, like I said. Thankfully, we're poor enough. A lot of our probably banks aren't, you know, tied up in that shit. Yeah, Amish and Mennonite. That's the other name for them. They're technically a different group, but I just pull them as the same. German people, ethnically, in large amount. In large amount. Yeah, Mormons are different. Jehovah's Witnesses are also different. They follow rationalists. Rationalists. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses are different. Mormons are different. They don't have any issues with technology. They're just, you know, a more modern Christian faith that was founded by... I forget his fucking name. It's the guy who pretended to find clay tablets under a mound in, like, Pennsylvania and founded a religion and went west. They own Utah. The state of Utah is a theocracy. Currently changed my mind. They mostly live in Utah and in the surrounding area. Mormons. And then, again, they basically own the state of Utah. Originally, they were from, like, Pennsylvania. They moved, actually, to regions in Ohio and then, like, Indiana, Illinois. People just kept kicking them out, though, because, I mean, they were religiously pretty wild. All right, we're going to work on upping the efficiency on those renewable power plants because I am getting us to build more of those. Mormon guy who was the first governor of Utah was a maniac, by the way. What was his name? I don't remember. JW is a cult? I don't know, man. If you start calling the Mormons the cult, that's a slippery slope. You got to call a lot of other groups cults. I'm not a big fan of how the Mormons operate. I wouldn't personally consider them a cult. Unless you want to start really broadly using that term, which I don't think you should. They are one of the more interesting religions, that I will say. Very aggressive with converting. If you are Mormon and you are coming of age, usually around 18 after high school, most Mormon kids will go on like missions is what they're called, where basically you get sent to other parts of the US or even around the world to other countries, like you get taught the language and stuff. And for a year or two, you basically go around to different places and you try and convert people. If you're American, you probably have had people show up at your door with backpacks, business casual uniform dress on, holding the Mormon Bible, wanting to come in and talk to you about Mormonism, trying to convert you. They're very aggressive with converting. They're a very fast-growing religion due to that. They do a lot of charity work as well, you know, which is cool. They get a bad rep for their charity work because it tends to be dependent on your family converting to Mormonism. Unfortunately. But I mean, that's no different. A lot of, unfortunately, especially organized religions do use charity work to push their religion and get converts, that's for sure. Not some new thing that they started doing. All right, we need to get out of stagnation here. We're going to go up to stable growth. I'm going to burn our political power on that right now. We need to try and stabilize, obviously, right after 08. So, probably, you know, Muammar Gaddafi and his current government are just, you know, part of the global panic. We're not caught up as in other regions are. We are very much an export market, though, and with that downturn in probably exports we're able to do to the West and to America, that is hurting us really bad. So, we're just going to start injecting capital into the economy right now. 100 billion down the drain. Bailout for our businesses and banks that are probably struggling right now and things like that. Again, I have no idea, but I would assume Egypt didn't have like a lot of the issues with the mortgage crisis the West did, just due to lack of capital and lending from central authorities there, but I could be wrong. Mormon young girls come here to convert first-generation Middle Eastern immigrants. Is that an actual thing? I must say, some of the Mormon guys, oh dear Lord, save my soul, I'm about to sin. What, dude? I've known a lot of ex-Mormons over the years. I've known a couple. It's brutal, dude. Their families like cut them off and shit. That's the other thing with Mormons. Is this, they're not the only religion that does this, but like Mormons are, I don't want to say a cult because I don't think it's accurate, but they take their shit very seriously. If you are born and raised a Mormon and you come of age, you go to college or you get older and you decide not to be a Mormon and practice religion and make that clear to your family, a lot of times you will get cut off. In the sense that everyone you grew up with, your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunt, your uncles, they will not talk to you anymore. You are cut off until such time as you see the error of your ways and you start being a practicing Mormon again. That is a very normal thing. It is fucking sad. I've known ex-Mormons who have had their families cut them off. That shit is wild, dude. It's intense. It's fucking sucks. Like, can you imagine everyone you grew up with just cut you off? But like, you also can't keep lying that you like don't believe this religion and don't practice it. It's fucked up, dude. Hardcore. All right. Yasser Arafat gravely insults our nation. In a viral video spread on Twitter and Facebook in 2008, nice. Yasser Arafat got caught on tape telling a group of ministers the following joke about Egyptian leader Hosni Mubarak. I've seen this event so many times, but I'll read it because it's funny. One day, Hosni Mubarak was walking around with his camel. Suddenly, Mubarak meets a Palestinian traveler. Palestinian traveler, why in the name of Allah are you walking around with this donkey? Mubarak, are you blind? Can you not see that this is not a donkey? Traveler quickly replies, shut up, Hosni Mubarak. I was talking to camel. Da-dumps. So I guess we're getting insulted by Palestine right now, which is hilarious. Fuck. Another fucking bot. Jesus. Ban. Yeah, traditional aimers are the same way. Yep, they cut you off too as well. A Mormon guy came up to me when I was waiting for a first date that was a weird conversation. What did he say? Jehovah's Witnesses do not allow people to engage in anything they don't like. It can be anything from films, video games, etc. Yeah, I grew up with Mormon friends for a few years before they tried to convert me without my parents knowing, and I stopped being allowed to play with them. But they weren't allowed to read Harry Potter. That was considered like devil's work. They weren't allowed to watch or play with Star Wars stuff for a long time because their parents also said that it was devil worship stuff. But apparently like the church or something changed its opinion on Star Wars, and they finally were allowed to watch it like when I still knew them, and they were very excited. We watched Star Wars together. They were very happy. Fuck. Yeah, it's wild. Once I rushed to get a seat on the back of a packed bus, and when I sat down, there was a Mormon girl staring the soul out of me, so I just instantly gave her my seat. It's a weird one. There's a crazy video about a Swedish reporter about an ex-Jewish Jehovah's Witness guy. He stands outside a Kingdom Hall and says hello to people and knew that they've said nothing and don't even look at him. Yep, no, you're cut off. You're cut off like some fantasy novel bullshit. You are cut the fuck off. I'm leaving the Swedish church when my grandmother dies so she does not die early of a heart attack. That's very kind of you. Goddamn. It'd be like that with old relatives, dude. Invite foreign hotels. Cooperation with international hotel conglomerates will support our name as the best tourist destination. Nice. We're in a deficit again somehow. Unfortunate. My cousin's friend is a Jehovah's Witness, and they are not allowed to draw Santa Claus or celebrate any classmate's birthday. Reminds me of like a really weird experience I had as a kid. I still don't know if this is like an actual thing or not. I should look it up. Weird thing to say, but if there's anyone watching who's Jewish who can correct me, if like knows if this is a real thing, let me know. But it's like a deep memory I remember. When I was 4 years old or 5 years old, we moved to Scotland for a year. My dad did a sabbatical where like he basically like taught and researched at this university in Scotland for a year before we moved back to America. We ended up moving back after that and just living there permanently for a few years, but this is when we were on sabbatical. And I went to school for basically like the first grade in this like really small Scottish village. I think my class size was like maybe a dozen kids, maybe a bit more. It was very small. And most of them were all like, you know, just like regular Scottish people. There were two families in this like little village of Scotland who were Jewish. If I remember right, they had like their parents had migrated there like semi-recently. So we had like two kids in my class who were Jewish. And I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember like during like, I think Hanukkah or some shit like that, our teacher like gave both those kids like chocolate golden coin bags. And I think I remember that because I remember being very jealous that I didn't get chocolate coins. I think that's why I remember that. You know, because kids are fucking assholes. I know I was a little shit as a kid, Jesus. So I think I remember it because I was like, why the fuck didn't I get one? But anyway, for Hanukkah, they got given these like coin bags of like chocolate coins. Looking back on that, that sounds kind of fucked up. But like, is that a real thing? I don't know if that's a real thing or not. Just remember it being very fucking weird. As an adult looking back, it seems very weird, but maybe that's an actual thing. I don't know. I don't know, man. Kind of weird though. The things you remember from being a young kid are so weird, dude. The weirdest things. Gene therapy, very nice. We'll go for GMOs. Combat foreign influence when we get to 100 political power again. We should be getting pretty close to actually being a regional power now. I hope. I think. Aha! We are a regional power, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Huge. That means we can actually do stuff with the African Union focus tree now, I believe. Yes, we can. We can. Our outlook is not the majority of Africa. So Western outlook is like not popular apparently. Okay. Whoa. Damn. Here we go. African Union. Yeah, so non-aligned is currently the majority outlook in Africa right now. 36% of the African continent is made up of the non-aligned parties. 32% Western, 28% emerging outlook, and 2% nationalist. Interesting. So we have to become more influential than non-aligned if we want to be able to do anything with a tree. I don't know how I feel about that one. I hope they do more on the African Union. Oh well. But we are a regional power, and that's what matters. We get some nice bonuses off of that. Have a good night, Truckanero. I will catch you later. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jewish kids get gold candy. Hammy gets jealous. Why does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? I don't know. This kind of seemed weird to me. Inviting foreign hotels. Why does that not sound like an actual power flex IRL? Because all that money will just get pulled out of the economy. But they need the investment money to actually make, like, you know, hotels of the quality that Westerners want to go stay at, so you kind of have to. That's good, though. Tourist industry definitely brings a lot of money into certain countries. One of the less damaging economies to definitely develop, especially because you just get all that capital influx, right, from foreigners, which is very nice. Our literacy rate went down. I have no idea what's causing it to go up and down, I'm going to be honest. Found a man in my CK3 game I want to keep. He's a chonker. Hell yeah. Did I go through the whole playlist? I think I did. Let me find some more Egyptian music here, folks. Pharaoh lo-fi? What the fuck? Alright, we gotta try this out. I don't know if this will be good or not. This is entitled Pharaoh Lo-Fi. Turn it up a bit so you guys can hear this better. We'll give it a try. Sounds interesting. I said I wouldn't do super generic Arab music, but I do want to hear that, how this sounds, if this is good. I fuck with lo-fi. I don't know if you all do, but when I'm like studying or focusing, I always play lo-fi. And this does not sound too bad. We'll hit Combat M4 and Influence one more time, and then I'm just going to kind of let that rest. We've got our regional power status, which is what I wanted, so we are big chilling now. Okay. The state of things is looking pretty good right now. I'm just trying to get this debt down a bit more. I thought after last session we'd kind of be out of the woodwork with our politics here, but... our economy, rather, not politics. We also almost do have another research slot. We're getting pretty close to 2 trillion here, I believe. Yeah, 1.6. Not a bad GDP at all. New wave of tourists. Time has come to bring Egyptian tourism sector into its final state. Even more income. Very nice. A lot of these Millennium Dawn focuses are actually costing us money now. They didn't used to do that. I do like it. It just makes it a little rougher, which it should. You don't just magically get like investments into your country. That shit costs money. Which is like what a lot of like HOI4 focus trees do. Like you just magically have this industry appear in your country, which given they never made a proper ecosystem, I guess is fine. But with MD, a little bit more complicated. Alright, I think we're just chilling for the moment again. Italian Civil War is stabilizing. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Forza Italia has changed the flag of Italy to the communist flag. Is that because like other Italy took theirs? I think. ladies and gentlemen, I just like to state that for the context of the canon nature of this playthrough, this is not currently a civil war in Italy right now. What we are witnessing is a mental breakdown of Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, who, after a particularly energetic moment of Unga Bunga, as he likes to call it, had a mental breakdown and is currently fighting a civil war in his head. He's in a specialized care facility at the moment, but there is no civil war in Italy. This is just Berlusconi's mind we're witnessing right now. Yeah, kind of sad. I love Millennium Dawn. Anything else crazy going on in the world right now? Take a look around. I always forget to do that, and then I just like look at a country and I'm like, holy fuck, what happened there? Oh my, Soviet Russia. Okay. Oh boy, it's a Soviet Russia path. All right, that's interesting. Base 2 Jintao, nice. INC India for the moment. Interesting. Ugh. Conservative France, New Labour Britain, Schroeder Germany, Socialist Spain, Joe Rogan, the current Prime Minister of Portugal, very nice. The fuck is that? Iran, remember, did have a civil war with nationalist. Zara Golampur? No idea. Is John Howard the one who just like went fucking missing, never to be seen from again? Or is that a different one? I know one of the Australian PMs just like disappeared. Mengistu, Ethiopia. Bushra al-Assad. Iraq is still a puppet right now. Alrighty. Yeah, so the big non-historical things right now are the Russians are going back to the Soviet Union. And then obviously Italian Civil War. Very conservative France. And Mengistu back in Ethiopia. Portugal. Bro, I mean, think about like the money the US is currently making on exporting fucking elk meat to Portugal. And like various performance enhancing drugs. They're making a killing. The elk export industry has never done better. I don't want to make a nuclear program, but there's no way we can get away with that, unfortunately. I don't think Mubarak has the balls for it, frankly. Barack Obama! Oh, shit. It is a Barack 2008 presidency. Holy shit, there he is. Talk about pure fucking charisma. I don't love Barack Obama, but Jesus fuck. There has not been a world leader that charismatic in a cool minute. Polished, honest, rational, geopolitical thinker, lawyer. Yep. Well, it's good for us. Very, like, you know, traditional liberal capitalism. Hopefully more investments in our country. Let's send our diplomat there. Just, you know, renew all those deals. Make sure that he'll keep letting us produce Abrams tanks in Egypt. Which is a real thing, apparently, in real life. You don't know about Joe Rogan's elk thing? Just Google it. It's funny. To be fair, I love venison myself. I can't talk shit. I've never had elk or moose personally, but I do fucking love venison meat. It is amazing. If you've never had it, try it. Try that shit. It's so good. It's absolutely different. Boar is really good too. No. Get this. It's a real thing in real life. Egypt actually does have a license to produce Abrams tanks, apparently. We'll work a bit on our high commanders here since we've got all this command power. Would really like best of the best, but not gonna get that. We get international education, we actually can go that route. Let's see. We'll save up and go for that, and I'll change that. Because I do want to recruit some new generals here. I do want a few more. We'll need those for later. Not bad. One of these, if I remember right, actually just gives flat XP. I don't know if they changed that into Millennium Dawn. And they got rid of it. Rightfully so, to be honest. It is pretty fucking busted. Okay. Go with the speed 5 as well. We are in a nice surplus, up to almost around $1 billion a week. Start working down that debt a bit more. It did grow a lot. Bailing out that bank and then obviously working on trying to put money back into the economy to get things rolling after 08 have been very expensive, and our debt has jumped up a bunch more. That being said, our interest rate is actually lower than it was when we first got back into a surplus, given our economy is continuing to grow. Our debt to GDP ratio is going down. Okay. Got some interesting options now. I think I'm going to hit WTO now. Get that research bonus, get that construction bonus. Just, we're really starting to move on our economy. Just try and get everything rolling at the same time. That being said, we are already currently in the WTO. I'm just going to use this for what it is. To make our economy prosper, it is important to enter various economical organizations. Joining the World Trade Organization might be really beneficial to our economy. My Jarl got upset when the woman he kidnapped cheated on him. CK3 problems. What do y'all think of the dev diary that came out? Did y'all see that for the unlanded DLC for CK3, Roads to Power? I've got very mixed feelings on it personally. Actually, I'll throw it up real quickly because it is interesting. Y'all haven't seen this yet? Okay, sure. So the next really big DLC that's coming out for CK3, and it's the one, actually I paused the game actually. I did. Is Roads to Power, which I'm waiting on to start the next grand campaign. We will most likely be starting as an unlanded character. We'll see. This DLC is gonna, for the first time in the Crusader Kings series, give a, like, you know, paradox supported DLC that's going to allow you to play a character who is not a leader. Traditionally, the lowest level you could play was a count, and obviously anything upward from there, but you couldn't play characters who were not landed, right? Didn't have titles. This DLC will allow you to do that. So I've been very excited for it, but a little bit worried because I think this is very easy to fuck up. And I kind of like and kind of dislike what I've seen from it. So, like, you have, like, a camp, which you can do some fun stuff with, like, upgrade kind of thing. So, like, the idea being, I think, usually you aren't just by yourself traveling. You have, like, a company, whether as just a traveler, you know, a religious character, or as a mercenary or something like that. Camps are based on the map in certain places, which I do like that. I like that they've, you know, kind of made map movement and like the map like matter for traveling. One of the biggest features I really like that CK3 has implemented. I'm not just going to read all their text, but kind of look through the images mainly here. Yeah, so this is interesting. You can kind of specialize like swords for hire, mercenaries, wanderers, just kind of go around and do things, scholars, trying to claim power in certain places, full-on bandits, which is fun. You roleplay a little bandit lord, you know, or explorers, pretty cool too. You can kind of move around, your camp moves around on the map and things like that. Traveling, obviously, a very big part of it. Now, contracts are the thing I don't like a lot, I'm going to be honest. I think that they're looking to be very poorly implemented. So basically, the way that contracts work are, as unlanded characters, you and your party can go to different places, and local leaders will offer contracts. Notably, I think they said, players can't offer contracts to unlanded characters, which is fucking bullshit, and I hate that so much. Maybe it'll be modded or implemented later. The contracts seem interesting conceptually. It sounds like a very good idea. But if you look into like what they're showing for what they are, it's just point and click events that are going to be, we all know how this shit goes. You're going to have like 10 variants of 3 events. And by the time you've played this, like as an unlanded character for more than 2 hours, you will have seen every single event and it'll just be the same shit over and over again. That's what it looks like to me. That's why I don't really like what these contracts look like. They don't seem very unique or interesting. They seem to just be button clicking. And I'm so fucking tired of that shit with Crusader Kings, especially CK3, which is really bad about it. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see, same shit over and over and over again. Their events just aren't fucking organic, and that's why I really don't like a lot of them. They don't add enough of them to do it this way, and they don't make them organic to solve the issue of just repeating the same fucking events over and over again. The only way I can get around with it personally and enjoy CK3 is I just basically add enough mods on to add enough events. You just have so many hitting you that your chances of seeing that same event over and over again gets reduced, but you still will, especially in something like a grand campaign, right? I really wish they'd work on finding more organic ways to have like character events. I'm sure that's not an easy thing to do. I am also very aware that they have the resources to do it. They choose not to, which is very unfortunate. What we're seeing more and more, I think, from Paradox, I've talked about this for years now, is just lazier and lazier DLC. I'm still a big fan of the creative people who work on the DLCs and these games. They do a lot of great work. We have seen some really cool updates for games, you know, we have. But in my opinion, they're just getting lazier and lazier. They're increasing the cost, they're decreasing the content, and I am sad to say I think Roads to Power might be that. Yet another DLC that adds a very amazing, interesting feature that is tantalizingly close to being great, but is bogged down by just lazy implementation and a rush release for money. I don't know. Maybe it could be that like we don't see the full picture here, and it will be more interesting, organic, and complex than what we're seeing. But what I'm seeing is the same shit for schemes, the same shit for just event-based shit, right? Just click button, make choice. 1 of 3 outcomes. And that shit'll get old real quick. You know? But I love the idea of the contract system. I love what they are doing conceptually with the camp, with movement, with going around the map, with playing unlanded characters. Fantastic feature to implement in Crusader Kings. Amazing. It's needed that since CK2, you know? I love that they're doing it. The final points of implementation currently don't look very good, unfortunately. So either I hope that they'll fix that and add on to it when there's backlash, which I'm sure there will be, or we'll just have modders as usual picking up the slack and doing that work for free. So we'll see. Yeah, so for me, I've been very excited for this DLC. I really have. I think it could be like one of the coolest things ever done in like a Paradox game, and especially in Crusader Kings series. I'm just worried about the final implementation here because we're getting kind of a lot closer to release, and at present, this is not good enough in my opinion. It's really not. Not for the price. What are they charging for it? I'm gonna say $35 to $40 USD. Have they said how much it's going to be? I think there was a price. I think it got taken down because there's backlash. I want to say it was 30 or 40 bucks. Does anyone remember how much it was? Have they said? Nothing could beat Eric Chokers. I'm happy since I will not be able to still play and not be tossed from my titles for being a pagan. Yeah, if you lose land, you can keep playing, which is amazing, right? It's fantastic they're adding that. I can only play CK3 if I use 6C+ mods. Same here. It's the only way I can really sustainably enjoy it. Baron starts are a thing now, hopefully. I actually don't... Have they said anything about that IMC? I haven't seen that. I hope so. That'd be cool if you could just, like, play, like, you know, the priest of the temple. Or, you know, like a small fort within a holding. Not gonna lie, CK3 isn't as interesting to me as CK2 was. All the content it has, every government type, plays differently, etc. While CK3 is just at a K. Meh. I do understand that. Like, I think CK3's direction, like... It's been the same in my mind for the last couple Paradox games. Notably, Vic 3, CK3, and to a lesser extent Stellaris, but that kind of got fixed. CK3 and Vic 3 especially is the case of great ideas, great things to change and make for a new game, shitty ass implementation, almost consistently, and that slick either just being picked up by modders or just not dealt with, right? And I agree with you. Some of the core features of CK2 I do find so much more fucking engaging. Mainly how they do events, how they did like the factions you could go play as. Like, just I could find endless replayability in CK2 solely based off of just playing fucking Fight Club with a fight guild, right? Holy shit, that was fun, you know? Or like joining like the fucking worshippers of Satan and the whole systems they had for that. That DLC alone made CK2 like just almost infinitely like replayable. I'm at the point I don't enjoy the graphics much, so it hurts my enjoyment. But CK3 though did add some amazing features. I think the stress system was great. I think the movement on map system is incredible. I think the way they did warfare, I do like, though it needs to be fleshed out more. The economic system was so fucking mediocre, right? The event system was so fucking mediocre. It looks great. CK3 is a great looking game. Portraits, characters, and designer is really good. The way traits work with events is very good in theory, but again, just non-dynamic events really break my interest in immersion. So yeah, very mixed bag for CK3. But I think much like Vic 2 and CK2 being very similar, we do glorify the past a bit. CK2 was a very fun game, but nostalgia is definitely an element there. Why the fuck does CK3 have a Patreon? Do they have a Patreon? That's embarrassing. That's a billion-dollar company. I apologize. The CK3 DLCs have had the same amount of content the CK2 DLCs had. For example, Nomads had super fun with so much for a few bucks. Yeah, they overcharge, they underdeliver. That's been the case for the DLC really since Paradox became a publicly traded company and went private. So, I want to play Republic. Same here. Fuck, like that should have been this DLC. I've said that before. CK2 feels like a medieval people saw the era was. CK3 feels like a bland mods like rice, without mods like rice. It really has felt empty, hasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, CK2 put out more with a smaller team for less money. Kind of just, I don't know. Corporate bloat, corporate greed, in my opinion, fortunately. Yeah, battle graphics is good. One of the mods that makes me enjoy CK3 so much, though, is the Crusader Wars mod, where you can play all of your battles out in Total War. That mod alone makes CK so fucking fun for me. Like, being able to just fight every battle in Total War, endlessly replayable. That alone makes me enjoy it. But again, as usual, it's the mods that make these games really good, especially the last few ones. HOI4, Stellaris, Vic 3, CK3. It's the mods that make them really enjoyable. And that's, you know, kind of the model that strategy games tend to run on, especially Paradox games, right? But Paradox sure as fuck knows it, and Paradox sure as fuck abuses it. But I'm a broken record. I've been saying this shit for years. It's the same old. So we'll see. I'm a little bit less hyped about Roads to Power as I was before this came out. I'm gonna be honest, folks. I'm still hopeful. I still think it is gonna be a poorly implemented at best DLC that's a worst DLC that could be fun. You know, I'll still enjoy using it for the mega campaign, but fuck, poor implementation as usual. Thank you for the sub, Bambi. What is up? I hope you are doing well. Yeah. I don't know, dude. That dev diary That hurt a little bit. But it's they said it's the part 1. Maybe the part 2 will have some more interesting stuff. So we'll see. All right, let's work on. Actually, we're doing most of the ones I want right now. Self-replicating 3D printers will just keep upping that production efficiency, especially since I want to like really just be pumping out more of those Abraham tanks in particular. The Paradox people I met at my school did say that they are a bit sad as they can't do what the community wants really. You mean in terms of like the corporate element of Paradox Studios, like stopping creativity and things like that? I've heard the same. I've heard that Paradox has become a kind of fallen pretty hard from people I've talked to in the past. It sounds to me a lot like after Paradox went public and the corporate and marketing and financial elements of Paradox just really bloated and kind of took the reins, and the creativity, like game development, creativity, portions, and teams in Paradox got pushed down that ladder, right, pretty hard. They're not able to fully do the things they want. They're not able to take the times to make the things that they want. The visions for things they want to do aren't allowed because the time and resources to, like, the cost ratio is not what they want, right? It may still even be very profitable, but they can make more profit in different ways so they don't allow it, which is tragic, you know? It really is. Like I've always said, I'm still a big fan of the creative portions of Paradox, but I know that a lot of what they're allowed to do has been stifled, and that as with any company, when it goes public, especially creative ones and game development ones, right, the cost is high. So kind of sad, dude. Kind of sad. Tencent and other global firms only care about money. Yeah, which is natural. Like, it's not like unreasonable to say a publicly traded company is not going to look after that bottom line, right? That is what they are supposed to do. The people hired on the corporate board and, like, you know, in marketing and on the financial elements of Paradox, they are doing their job. That is what they are supposed to do. And I don't know, I think being resentful of that is reasonable, but like being like, how dare you, is unreasonable. That's their job. That's what they're gonna do. The big issue is the original owners and like the people who obviously had power on, like, you know, who built Paradox, right? There's a guy in particular, I'm forgetting his name. He essentially just kind of retired and left and kind of got his bag and left, which, you know, fair, I guess. But they were the ones who created the current situation. So it kind of comes down to them. It is their fault. And human greed is a reasonable thing in the world we live in, but it is tragic for folks like us who enjoy these games and are not going to get the products that, you know, we used to get, right? All right, back to the game. What are we going to work on here? I think we're going to work on a bit more military stuff. We have basically completed everything I wanted to of our tourism industry, so let's just start working on our military. It is very outdated. So, Egyptian military exercises. We must conduct military exercises to train our troops and find flaws in our military doctrine. XP, Army XP, land doctrine bonus, and we are going to start to change our really bad military modifier that is completely screwing us over right now. My friends want me to send an application to become a game tester because they asked for the application to send how many hours they got in their games, and I got like 10,000 hours. Yeah, no, I mean, take a shot at it if they pay you for it, you know? Don't do it for free, though. They have the money to pay you, and if they don't, fuck off. Tencent owns many studios, and it either hurts or helps studios. Look at Riot Games. Sure, they are money hungry, but their games work, aren't overpriced, and they can play for free unless you want skins. Yeah, but fundamentally, the business model of a game, they would follow Arvis. The business model for a game like Riot and League of Legends or Valorant is an entirely separate business model for something like a strategy game or an RPG, right? They're not comparable. A game like League and Valorant is really like simple to make money off of and not kind of be destroyed by. Like, don't get me wrong, you could like just really push certain like paid bonuses, pay to win features on like games like that, MOBAs, but they don't usually. Riot has a large enough player base because it's a free, well-made game they've developed that they can make huge amounts of money off of just things like skin sales and stuff like that, right? That alone just makes them so much money and people like are so invested that they'll just keep paying for it, but it doesn't affect like the end result, right? That skin may look good, and it do look good, but it's not going to like decide whether or not like you playing a lot will get you to gold or diamond, right? It's not going to do that. It doesn't affect like the core game enjoyment or game like, you know, your outcome playing the game. Strategy games are very different. Strategy games are fundamentally a creative enterprise. It's about building interesting systems in a very complex game that will allow you to enjoy it, right? And additions to that game, like an addition to a MOBA, will be a skin or a loot box or some shit like that. An addition to a strategy game is gonna be mechanical. It's the only way you're gonna make money. None of us would pay for fucking skins. If Paradox is like, hey guys, do you wanna pay for like, you know, a shiny golden, I don't know, random skin for your tanks? We're not gonna spend that money. We're not. Maybe a few people will. They did make a few of them, right? There are some paid reskinning features for things like EU4 and HOI4, right? Like you can buy those reskinnings, which is the same as a fucking MOBA, right? Do people do that? No. Is it enough to sustain a multi-billion-dollar company like Paradox with our player base? Fuck no. Absolutely not. So their only way to make money is to A, release new games, right? Or to make DLC, which is a reasonable business model. But that has an effect on your actual game, right? It's not like a MOBA. When they release a DLC and you buy it, or you don't buy it, that affects your enjoyment of the game. And if it's poorly implemented, that hurts your enjoyment of the game. And it's a waste of money. And with the money they fucking charge for it, you know, it should be pretty fucking good. And it is not. It is not. It hasn't been for a while. So they're not comparable, right? But I get the point you're making. I don't know. It's an interesting comparison, at least. So every sort of business has different, you know, profit models that they can go active, and they don't have to be innately very greedy to still make money. You know, Riot is a little bit. I mean, like the most recent kind of like blowback they got on like how they make money was that Faker skin, right? What was it, like $500 for that RE legendary Faker skin or some bullshit? You know, they got like actual like pushback on that from people like, this is bullshit. I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally. You don't have to buy it. It's optional. You know, it looks cool as fuck. And there are rich kids or like just retired wealthy people who play League who will pay that $500. I don't personally think there's anything wrong with that because it's not hurting the game. It's not hurting your enjoyment of the game. It is not giving you a skill advantage. It's not. It's just aesthetic. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's very different than like DLCs and strategy games or even RPGs, right? So that's why, I don't know, Paradox's current business model, so many people are angry with it and unhappy, including me, but I still like the games, so. But I mean, I've talked about this 100 times. I'll keep doing it when they keep doing this shit, but we'll see. Alrighty, let's work on, I want to get the new doctrine. What do we need for that? 140,000 men in the field and all of these, okay. Start with the academies. Egyptian academies. We need to build new military academies, increase officer salaries in order to have the best generals in the Middle East. Goddamn right. Goddamn right. Portrait DLCs. Yeah, that's also a thing too, right? Golden Panzer 2, now with blood red crimson moon. Yeah, exactly. That shit. You know. Okay. If I'm very honest with myself, if it was a cool enough skin for a Paradox game, I might buy. I will be honest. But I'm not the normal Paradox player. I'm an addict masquerading as a Twitch streamer and YouTuber on a generous day. I'm just an addict. So, you know, there's a lot of people who casually play these games who would spend money on a League skin and wouldn't pay for the golden Panzer II Blood Raven Crescent Moon skin. I might. But again, I'm an addict, so it's different. I admit what I am. It's important to do that. You can even buy skin packs for 2D art and HOI4 for the Soviets as a skin that does nothing. Can you really? Hold on, let me look this up. I know they've done some like weird shit like that, but hold on, now I want to look this up. This is what I mean. For $6 USD, you can have your tiny little planes have a different color and slightly different textures. Only $6. Like, this is the game like money model like Riot runs on, right? And it's completely reasonable because they don't need to make gigantic mechanical additions for the game still to be fun. When you play League, you want one thing. You want to play your champion, you want to go into the game, and you want to do the same shit you've done over and over again and try and get better at it, which is fun. It's a fucking skill game. You get in the same thing every time. Same with CSGO. It's not why you play a strategy game. You play a strategy game for variety because it's complicated and because it's different every time, and you need big mechanical changes to do that, right? So it requires really a DLC model, which I don't think there's anything innately wrong with, but I mean, this is kind of funny. $6 though, dude. God damn. Allied speeches for $5. $5. Dude. $5. That's public domain. You can go online and find them. I'm sure they did some audio engineering to make them better, but $6 for some cool skins. I mean, they do this shit, right? They do. It's just not like, you know, the same kind of shit Riot does, right? Yet. Maybe one day. Sabaton I'd pay for. Sabaton's cool. The first one up there, Content Creator Pack, 2D art. What the fuck does this do? Tank icons, plane icons, ship icons, artillery icons, train icons, focus tree icons for $4. This like almost reminds me of like some like Gmod private server upgrade bullshit, if y'all have ever seen that. Like, there are like private Gmod servers that have like paid stuff, and it's just like the stupidest shit for too much money. Do I own this? Please tell me I don't own this. I don't, thank God. All right. Anyway. You play the game on mute? Yeah, I listen to other music personally. I mean, the game soundtrack is not bad by any means, don't get me wrong, but you hear it once or twice and you're chilling. Usually. I clicked it. I got it. Icons, yeah, it's funny. I bet you could get a free AI to read those public speeches, domain documents, and historical voices. Easily. I'll show you how easy this is. Let's do the, let me go back to it really quickly. $5, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that figure in your mind right now while I just go to YouTube. All right, Eisenhower, order of the day speech. Going to YouTube. Eisenhower, order of the day speech. HOI4 Music also has it for free on YouTube. Here we go.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied
that took me 20 seconds.
Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months.
Eisenhower was an actual G.
The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't like overpriced, like greedy shit. I don't mind paying to support game companies. I don't think any of us do not mind doing that. I don't mind paying to support a DLC model for a game I enjoy. I do not like price inflation just to bolster profits without any proper reason while quality goes down. That shit, I don't like. I don't like it at all. I don't like it on a plane. I don't like it on a boat. I don't like it on my fucking computer. Pisses me off. But I'm an addict, so I keep buying the DLCs. But other people aren't, and they don't. And it's fucking hurting. And Paradox is feeling it. Hold on. Let me pop up something actually interesting here, folks. We're gonna look at something kind of interesting here. prepare yourself mentally. The fact that fucking Paradox's stock is not a Finviz is so annoying. Bear with me. Bear with me. Should probably pause the game, shouldn't I? Okay. President Eisenhower is one of the goats of all time. Absolutely. Very good president. Very good president. Fantastic field marshal. Mediocre general. Mediocre general, in my opinion. But a goated field marshal. He's very good on like the high level stuff, getting people to work together. Amazing with picking good officers and getting people in the positions they need to be. Masterful at finding talent and putting them in the places they need to be. Great at the high level. Mediocre general. Very interesting individual. All right, so this is the stock page for Paradox Interactive. It is their stock. Publicly traded company. They were not always. Paradox became a publicly traded company after being private for a long time. They are publicly traded on the Swedish stock market. So, we're gonna look at a couple things that are interesting here. The obvious one is the stock price itself. Hurry the fuck up. Goddamn Yahoo Finance. I always use Finviz to look at stocks. It's a very nice site, but they don't have it on there. It's sad. Bruh. Fucking Yahoo. Remember when Yahoo was like actually relevant and still a thing? Yeah, so here's their stock price, ladies and gentlemen. The IPO initially back in 2016 when they first became publicly traded. It has been 8 years since. Good growth over time, you know. Good growth over time. They released some good games. HOI4 came out. HOI4 and Stellaris were like right here. Vic 3 was like right around here. Right here. Vic 3. CK3 like around somewhere around here, right? So stock went up for a while and now it has gone way the fuck down. It is definitely not a low, but it is headed down. And you know, if I saw a stock chart like this traditionally and I didn't look at fundamentals, I'd be like, okay, this is actually, you know, not a bad time to pick up Paradox stock. It's gone down. It's got a trend of going upwards, you know. It is a, you know, like the dominant strategy. I don't give financial advice. Let me say that since I am reading a stock chart right now. You know, in my head, for me, maybe I think, oh, okay, this is interesting. I might look at the stock. It might, you know, grow and go back up in the future. So this is interesting. Earnings growth, revenue growth over the last year is down 22%. Quarterly earnings growth over the last quarter recently. Now, keep in mind, they have not released a big game, right, since Vic 3, to be fair, which is where they tend to make a lot of their money. Paradox's business model is based off of initial release of games, but really it's based off of improving those games over time with DLCs to continue to generate sales of the initial games, as well as adding on DLC to basically push up prices and to be able to make more money off of game releases, right? It's not looking good right now. Their company's financials are not looking great. And, you know, maybe they've got some good stuff around the corner, but a lot of their, like, smaller releases they've done recently haven't done very well. Sphere of Influence was the only one I'd say kind of did okay. Lamplighter League, pretty big. You know, they put a lot of money into Lamplighter League, right? That shit died. It wasn't a very good game. I don't think they're even developing it anymore, right? You know, the recent DLCs for HOI4, they've done okay, not great. So, yeah, I'm a little worried. They're going for that profit-driven route to like sustain being a publicly traded company and like, you know, work on, you know, being a profitable company. But I think that they're still like their game market is still based on players who like don't respect that. They're not EA. They can't get away with that and still be huge and profitable unless they get acquired by a big giant like Microsoft or Sony or something that doesn't care. They just want them in their portfolio more than anything else, right? To sustain their other products. So it's not working for them, man. I don't know. And, you know, I was hoping that they'd realize that and change it for Road to Power, which is such a good DLC in theory, but dude, that dev diary has me worried. Fuck. Because it's not like they can keep doing these L's. They can't. They're publicly traded. They can't keep taking L's like this. They can't. It's not privately owned. Downsizing will be the first step, right? Which we've already seen a bit of at Paradox. Not a lot, a little bit. And it gets worse from there, so... I don't know, dude. I don't think it looks very good for strategy. Not for Paradox games at the moment. Anyway. New special weapons. Our army needs more modern walkie-talkies, grenades, first aid kits, and much more, so that soldiers are versatile on the battlefield. You don't need dull speeches if you don't, but you also can't at least give some of them, like Goebbels declaring total war. Yeah, why isn't that a free feature? Did they just add to make the game better and more immersive? Why do you have to pay $5 for that? You don't. Ridiculous. Something actually interesting about time. Fuck you too, Coco. Hope you're doing well. Your friend called you blank out drunk? I'm sorry to hear that. I'm playing Millennium Dawn. I sent volunteers to Libya to stop Tripolitania and help Libya to win, but sometime later they rise up again. Should I send volunteers again or not? No, if you're just playing it for fun and you want Army XP, go for it. If you're role-playing, that's a little bit more complicated and harder to decide. Fun fact, one Swedish family owes 40% of the Stockholm stock market. Holy fuck, what's the name of the family, Kaiser? Most of their publishing ventures have also flopped. Doesn't help most devs teams for a game got gutted right after release. Yeah. HOI4 team is down to like 5 people or something crazy. Yeah, CK3's team is still under 10, I believe. It's like 6 or 7 people. Which is fucking ridiculous. The amount of money spent on personnel at Paradox that is in like marketing and financials and not in creative is just not fucking sustainable, dude. It's not. We'll work on CRISPR. The biggest thing Paradox did in the last fucking couple years that it helped them, I think, and gave me a bit of hope, was when they did the team for Stellaris to like basically give free updates. What was the name of that? Not the Guardian team. The forget the name of it. But essentially is like they hired some people on for Stellaris to make free updates, to make all the DLCs better that they'd given out already, like add free features to the DLCs, to the base game, to make them all work better together. They added a couple of people for that, who would basically just doing free updates for the game. Stellaris has gotten a lot better due to it. It really has, I think, and has probably increased the sales of DLC and the game itself. They only did that for Stellaris. Curator team is what it's called, the Curator team. They haven't done that for any of their other games, which is just madness. Absolute madness. Fuck. All right, we had another market crash. We're in stagnation. I'm going to put us back up to stable growth. We're going to take a big hit on economy for that, but that's fine. We have a lot of political power right now. What else do I want to do here? I am going to do another hit for fast growth. We need to try and stay in a surplus right now. That's really key. And maybe decrease funding on something, though we are still in a surplus, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's go for international academies for officers too, or officer military academies rather, which should allow us to get best of the best. There we go. So our new commanders are gonna hopefully have some pretty good traits here. I will hire some more shortly. What's up, Denise? Is Egypt's focus tree good? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it. It's really good. It's not like their best, like Brazil or USA or China or something, but it is very good. It's very fun. Highly recommend a playthrough. We'll do excavation. We'll keep working on that. We don't have a lot of natural resources, but we've got enough, especially of oil that we've cultivated, that will pay off here and help us out a little bit. New defensive tactics. Working on modernizing our army right now. I'm sure the army is very happy with our current focus. Dude, I returned to Payday 2 and I honestly miss Paradox. This game has 81 DLCs. Dude, the Payday 2 was a fun game. I played a lot of it in high school, actually, with a buddy of mine. And, dude, the DLCs for it are insane. So many of them. But it was a very fun game. Payday is like, you literally just like rob people. Like, you just rob banks and shit and do heists. It's pretty fun though. They made a new one, but I heard it wasn't very good. Also, has anyone have confirmation? I heard that Paradox was making that Sims like knockoff competitor Life by You, and I heard that they dropped it. Let me Google that. I never really looked into that. They fucking canceled it. Oh my god. All right. Yeah, so Paradox was working on a potentially a competitor to The Sims. It was called Life by You, and it has been canceled apparently. Show you guys some lovely images from it. As you can tell, it's just a Sims knockoff, right? It had gotten a lot of funding and a lot of development, and a lot of people had been working on it, and I heard, and apparently it's right, it has been canceled. Sadly, we decided to cancel the release of the long-awaited Sim Life by You. This is incredibly difficult, blah, 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 blah. Why did they do it? Yeah, it was going to take too much money and resources to make it actually playable. Paradox has been really cutting costs lately, and it appears this is one of the victims. However, when we came to the point where we believe that more time will not get us close enough to a version we will be satisfied with, we will have to stop it. That is bullshit. What they mean here is that the amount of resources they'd have to put in to make it viable for a release, given that they have to cut costs right now, is not worth it, so they just scrapped the project. Kind of a shame. I was mildly interested in it. I never really enjoyed The Sims much. I played it a bit when I was younger, but I never played it a lot. It did look interesting, though. L after L from Paradox, folks. Rough. Mainly probably in reaction to the release of the new City Skylines game, which was not popular, because again, rushed implementation as usual for profit. You can get away with that in a lot of industries, but gaming is one where the people who will buy your games are very critical. Especially specialized games like strategy. Escapist 2 was delayed indefinitely? Oh, fuck. Yeah. Sims 3 was good. Yeah, I played a lot of it. I played a lot of Sims 4. Dude, every babysitter I had as a kid always brought their laptop, and they always had The Sims. I don't know what it was. What was up? I guess this was a cultural thing. I was too young, but like, dude, in the 2000s, every like teenage girl played The Sims on her laptop apparently, because every fucking babysitter I had always had The Sims. I played The Sims 2 a lot on laptops when I was a kid. Played Sims 3 a bit. Played Sims 4 a bit, but you know, when I started growing up, I just never enjoyed them very much. New night sight vision, or night vision sights. Nice. Just continuing to modernize here. Eco looking good. We are sustaining a semi-functional economy after the fallout of 2008, which is huge. I do wish that Millennium Dawn had a bit more of a complicated mechanic for 08, but I'm sure that's just a nightmare to do. I actually played the Payday 3 demo a couple weeks before release, and the game didn't even have servers. And it's so soulless. Yeah, that's what I heard. All teen girls still play The Sims. There you go. There you go. CSGO 2 was okay, but the gameplay and trailers I saw of it looked way better than the like actual updates they did, which was a real shame. Muammar Gaddafi vows to destroy colonialism. Yesterday at the UN General Assembly, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi announced that he would be creating an international axis of good to fight against American and Zionist colonialism. Muammar Gaddafi invited all his fellow anti-colonialists to join their new alliance. They promised that the West would pay for their colonialist history. Preach, brother. Not publicly, though. We love the West and their investments. All right, this is a good point for me to take a quick break. I'm going to grab some more water and go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, and we will continue with this game. And me just doing my bi-monthly rant about Paradox. Be back in just a moment. Alrighty. Let's keep it going. Gaddafi's a joke, even in the Middle East. I mean, he did have the balls to say a lot of shit that most people wouldn't, you know? By no means do I like him at all or what he did with Libya, but I mean, he did push for the African Union pretty hard, which is, I think, a very good institution. And he was willing to call out the West, which most countries don't have the balls for. I'll give him that. But he's a bit of a piece of shit. I know some people who definitely glorify him, undeservedly. Have you heard of a game called Workers and Resources Soviet Republic? I think I've seen it on Steam before. It rings a bell, but I'm not too sure. I've never looked at it closely at all. I'm not too sure beyond just maybe seeing it. When's our next election, actually? 2011, 2 years. Starting to get close to the Arab Spring, too. I'm really curious to see if Egypt has, like, a whole mechanic for that. I know, like, other countries do in the Middle East, so I assume they do. I'd imagine. Sudanese civil war is still ongoing. Let's send some more arms to North Sudan as well. We can send an intervention force. I'm tempted, not gonna lie. Pull time, folks. Pull, pull, pull. So we talked about it last stream, I looked a bit around about it. Sudanese civil war has been on and off going for around like 4 decades really at this point. And we definitely support the northern Sudanese government more. We're looking for stability there and hopefully maybe oil rights too. So we have a vested interest to seeing the civil war stop. It's been going for a while, so I'll do a poll as to whether we intervene or not. And I will split the vote on the side there. We'll do it real simple. 3-minute vote on that, pretty short one, so feel free to if you would like. We should liberate Sudan. I didn't say liberate, I said send volunteers. Big difference. I mean, it is historically Egyptian land in the far, far past, but it does have oil, which we do need a lot of. Okay. Millennium Dawn has gotten my FPS down to like 20. Oof. Oh, that's probably the speed though. Yeah. Best in camouflage, getting a lot of nice tech bonuses here. I hate having so many kids in CK3. I end up with so many allies, with people constantly calling me into wars, which makes my enemies attack me because I'm involved in so many conflicts. Isn't there a system now where you can like choose not to have an alliance with relatives though? I thought they added that. Look for some new music too. D&D desert playlist. God damn it. D&D Egyptian battle music. Nice. Try this one. See if it's any good. Yeah. Alright, we have machine learning. Let's start working more on military stuff. Gotta modernize here. Then again, 4G's so nice. Oh, wait. Work on making some modern artillery that we can produce ourselves here. Fire controls. Because artillery is really outdated. How's that poll doing? Two for intervening, 1 for stay-ups. My maybe mega campaign isn't a meta dynasty. I started out in southern Sweden and I now own northern Sweden because I was pushed up there by the Danes. Interesting. Are you still in CK3? When I first played CK3 with my friends, I thought a lot of kids were good, so I had 9 sons and 3 girls. We had to individually assassinate all of them. The youngest guy ran away. That's about right. All right, we are going to send volunteers then to Sudan. We can send 2. Probably tanks. Those are the ones I'd like to get experience. We do an APC shortage though, but it looks like these don't require them, so we'll go with the Abdur Nassal and then other tank division. I do want to promote a new general here as well. Infantry officer, god damn it. I guess we'll use him for now then. I want like some of our just regular officers to get experience fighting with the volunteers, so when we promote them, they'll have better traits. That is a thing, by the way. Hobbits. And then some air volunteers as well. Okay. Recon bonus, massive breakthrough. And we can either go for artillery integration and fire support, which is more like soft attack, or we can go with helicopter integration, which I don't think we'll ever really have the mills to produce in a large amount, so we'll probably go for artillery integration here. And we do have airbase. Got those MIGs. We'll send the 4th rate MIGs. How many can we send actually? I'm not too sure. Actually, can we send any? Possibly not. No, we can. Okay, they're moving to Sudan. Maybe. Send some Toyota Hilluxes. We have 1 field marshal. We use a Sam Al Jamal. I won't micro this, otherwise I'll just like immediately cap them. So we'll just use a battle plan, I think, here. We still may just push them very quickly. I think our tank divisions are actually fairly strong. Are these the ones I actually changed the templates on? No, they're not, never mind. But they are still very good templates-ish. I hope CK3 gets a better peace deal system, because if I'm attacked and win hard, why can't I get land or some of my claims? Yeah, true. In that era, you definitely could just annex broad swaths of territory, but the game also doesn't have a system that reflects how hard it is to govern lands that you just like have said you've annexed but haven't actually integrated right, so I think it's that balance right now. Did we get that air wing down there? We did not. No, we can't send any down there. Oh well. Japan abandons defensive principles. With the world growing more and more tense, the Japanese government has today declared that it would be ready to defend Japanese interests and its ideological persistence, both at home and, more importantly, Prod. JDF is getting replaced. This will give me a chance to also work on making some of these divisions better. 62 width versus our much smaller one. Start by adding some more support divisions on here. We don't have a lot of any of these, so I'll have to go for motorized recon. It's much better to go for like IFE recon, but you actually have to have some, and we don't. Heavy engineers and a tank company. Org is so fucking low. Light tanks I'm going to replace with, what do we have a lot of? Not much. Main battle tanks. Probably motorized infantry we'll have to use on our tank divisions for now until we can get some more later. Never mind, going to the XP4. After I added those support on, so we'll just wait on that. So, where is there? Weapon training. We almost have a new doctrine for our military. Right now we have a really bad modifier. Let me find it. It is absolutely screwing us here. Where are you? Corruption war, but it's not the one I'm thinking of here. Unless we got rid of it, but I don't think we did. Outdated military, that's the one. Minus 15% on defense and attack, and minus 10 on org, which is really bad. With all of our political power we have saved up, again, I'm not going to work on corruption as much as I want to click that button due to Mubarak, so we'll just work on more domestic independence. We'll combat foreign influence and hit the US's influence on us as well. Tinto Talks, yeah, Tinto Talks, that's the diary devs for the new EU5. I haven't followed them closely, folks. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really hyped for EU5. My expectations on it are very low. I don't expect it to be very good, given recent events, but you never know. I loved EU4. I played it the most out of any Paradox game for a very long time. I just don't like the direction it went in. And from what I've read of Tinto Talk so far, I don't see them making really any big changes that have me wowed, so I'm just kind of waiting to see if it's going to go anywhere interesting. We will not be adding on to our corruption, certainly not. What time is it? 7:46. I'll be streaming for 15 more minutes, folks. I got started a bit late today, and then we had all those issues starting off to get MD to work, unfortunately. But I do have to stop at 8 tonight, so tomorrow we are doing more Victoria 3 multiplayer. By the way, continuing as Great Britain. We just started a civil war at the end of last session last week, so you're welcome to watch. You're also welcome to join. All the info's in the Discord if you want to. So that will be tomorrow starting at a 1 p.m. EST and going for 4 hours. Yeah, supply issues here. Let's move back our front line so we're not down in that no supply area there. I thought our tanks would be doing better here. They're not doing awful. We have pushed a tile, but they're not moving nearly as quickly as I expected here. That's a good name. We're waiting for more of that equipment, I'm sure, as well. It looks nothing like EU4, to be honest. I thought you would like more micromanagement. Again, it's just I don't trust any of these features they're talking about to be implemented well. So, I'm just waiting to see. I was willing to forgive Vic 3 those issues because I like the ecosystem enough I didn't mind. There's no major feature in EU5 that I'm excited enough for. I'm willing to forgive that bullshit. So, we'll see. If it ends up releasing and it's really solid, I'll probably play a bunch of it. But I'm not going to just bend over backwards. Given there's nothing, I'm just like, whoa, I can't wait. So we'll see. When you capture a Danish king, you are obligated to kill him as a Swede and Norse. Why is it whenever Swedes or Danes talk about their own country, it's always like involves killing other Scandinavians? I fucking swear. I will micromanage this shit. That's an easy encirclement. Single-handedly carrying Sudan here. W. That's what we did for the past 1,000 years. Yeah. Y'all kill each other a lot. You'd never know it nowadays. Scandinavians are so well educated, very polite, fairly wealthy, you know, they seem very chill. But then you go back like 200 years and they're basically savages. I love the Norse and the Vikings, don't get me wrong, but they were the definition of absolutely fucking barbaric. We're at that point, I'm not sure what I really want to be doing with my political power here. Expand our fertilizer production for exports. Beautiful. Now we can get our new defensive doctrine, or new doctrine. No, we need 140,000 men in the field. Right now we have 135,000. We'll pop out one more. How much manpower each of these? 3,600. We need 2 of these. We'll pump out 2 more infantry divisions, and then we can go to our new military doctrine focus there. Increase arms supplies. Military exercises have shown that our army lacks equipment. For this, we must open old storage facilities and expand our existing capacities. If you go back to our mythological kings, so did they just kill each other? Sweden still is a little better when we got Odin as our first king. They have a lot more units than I thought they'd actually. $69 factories, W. We've got 69 civs, 6 military industry, and 2 naval yards. Ooh, we almost have 2 trillion as well. That'll be another research slot. We're actually getting a lot of those now. Research-wise, we're really starting to catch up. By 2010, too. Nice. River crossing. I mean, to be fair, we are just blowing through like militia jungle units, like rebel forces with full tank brigades right now. But still. Worst part is I did a DNA test and I may actually be part Danish. You're in Scandinavia, of course you are. Oh, fuck. Group of businessmen has approached us asking to allocate more startup funds to support new companies. Sure. We've got a surplus right now. Not technically with our debt, but we've got it in the bank. And our interest rate is almost at 6%, which was my goal, so I'm really not worried about our finances right now. Barring major financial collapse of some sort. You know what? Fuck it. We will end with some, we'll end with some good music. That one. There we go. Good soundtrack. Turkey? Yeah, I can show Turkey real quick. It is Rasai Kutan. Still, he was in power last time as well. Still very much holding on to power there. Alright, let's work on some more mills here. HOI4 tank factory for making M1A1 Abrams tanks. Actually get the license off of that too, nice. Beautiful. Alright, so we are going to end the civil war on Sudan's behalf here. They fucking owe us. Airfield if we can. I think if we get to Yuba, we probably cap the rebels here. It was a little awkward being a Russian student in Sweden and having history class in the 5th grade talking about Swedish wars with Russia. Oh fuck, I bet. The Great Northern War and stuff. Sweden dicked on Russia for a long time, and then Peter the Great said, no, 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 no. We're done with that. Give me Finland. Kind of crazy to remember that Sweden was actually politically relevant and powerful for a while. It's just been so long. No one remembers anymore. Unless you read history, of course. Nice. To go quickly here, I'm just going to rush the planning on it. Folks, always remember when playing Hearts of Iron 4 that your planning matters so fucking much. Planning bonus will just literally go into a flat defense and attack bonus to your unit based on the percentage you build up. It does decay when fighting, but wait to push until you get that bonus. It is so important and so huge. Number one fuck up I see like so many players, even experienced ones, doing is like rushing. Sometimes you got to, but usually you don't. And just like Not waiting for their planning bonus. I used to do it all the time, too. I was awful with that. It matters. In Stockholm, there's a statue pointing to St. Petersburg to another statue as Peter the Great, and he's pointing back. It's crazy their king brought meatballs from the Ottomans, and it evolved so much we can't even claim it as ours. That's so much a culture, though. Everything, like, you know, people claim to be their own country, which they, I'm sure, refined and did interesting things with, usually comes from other things. Not always, but a lot of the time. Not worth it. I do want to go economic boom, but it is not worth it. Right into Juba. I think pretty generic here, you know, historically, but the Swedish king I know the most about is obviously Gustav Adolphus. I read a really interesting book in high school. I forget the name of the thing. It was really obscure, but essentially what it was is a book talking about powder and musket era, like 16th to like late 17th century warfare in Europe. And it's a really interesting book. It like described like historical tactics for how like formations worked, how small like the unit cohesion mechanics worked, how like firing drills were done, and then like tactical situations from historical battles. And there was this like kind of a case study in there of like Gustav Adolphus's wars in like the religious, you know, Protestant Catholic wars in the HRE. And Jesus Christ, that dude was a very good commander. Very interesting guy too, but like just basically unbeaten for a while and just died in combat, kind of ending a golden age for Sweden. Really interesting guy though. His daughter is very interesting too, Christina. She was the definition of I'm too early to be able to like implement my shit, but I'm gonna try and do it anyways. You get that every now and then historically with countries where you get that like very capable, interesting, capable leader who will try and like implement stuff that people just aren't ready for. All right, we're in good position. We're at 8. I am going to end the stream here, folks. So we did intervene in that war. We got the Sudanese civil war to actually end. It is a joint peace there, so I'm going to say that we should have influence over them. I'll probably just like give myself some PP next session and up our influence on Sudan, given we basically just won that war for them. So, all right, ending our stream here today. I will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. EST. I will be continuing as Great Britain in that Victoria 3 multiplayer game. Again, if you'd like to choose a country for that, that is open in the Discord. If not, I will be streaming it. And I will continue this Egypt game next week, given I have solved our compatibility issues. Hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Has a good rest of your weekend, and I will catch you all